Alright, here we are, playing DayZ again. I just wanted to show everyone, the zombies are sliding around right now. Anyways, I just wanted to show people the reason that I have my controls set the way that they are. Now, I got some of them overlapping other things, and I should probably delete this one real quick. But, alright, so, typical WASD movement. Up and go prone. So the reason I have this set for alt is I use alt to crouch, and if I'm in the prone position and press alt, it will stand me up. And then if I press alt to crouch, which is what I have crouch set to, it will stand me up. So that's why I have it as that, even though it's overlapping something else. And control, we'll find out what that is later. Fast forward is the sprint button. It's called fast forward. Yeah, so that's sprint. I have it as shift. Now, evasive left and right is used for leaning when you have a weapon. You can also roll if you're already prone. I don't have anything for stand up because if I want to, there's my prone and it toggles. So that's why I have that as control and go prone. Yeah. Go prone is the one that makes you go, and then prone is the one that toggles it. I ended up putting it this way for a reason. I kind of forget. There's some weird mechanic to where it ended up working better this way. So I can hit control to go prone, and then I can hit control again to immediately stand up, even though it's not on the stand up button. So, anyways, and then yeah, so there's your lean left and right. And that's why this is evasive. That's for rolling. This is for leaning. And then I have it set to lock also. If you don't want to hold the button, but you're having a firefight around a corner. I set this to X because it's right next to WASD, and your thumb, it easily rests right on the X button, kind of like the space bar and the alt button. Your thumb is already right there, so it just makes it easier to go from running to walking. I don't have a temporary set because, you know, I could just turn it on or off pretty easily. I guess I tried to set it up for an Xbox controller. That didn't really work very well, but I put it as Z for toggling weapons. Now, what that is it switches your fire mode. So if you have an automatic weapon, you can put it on semi or burst. And, sorry. But yeah, that's what Z does. And it also switches if you have flares or glow sticks. You can throw them with Z. Well, you can switch to it with Z and then throw them. Command fire. I actually don't even know what that is. I have it set though. And of course, you know, primary fire. Reload is R. Optics mode. I think that has to do with if you're using night vision. I'm not sure. It might have something to do with the way if you're iron sights, you can probably iron sights and choose between that or a scope. Not exactly sure. Next target, I have it set on the Xbox controller, but nothing else. The lock or zoom. So you can hold it, the secondary mouse button. I'm kind of surprised it's not red. Usually it will turn red if something else is set for this, but because I don't have it as hold secondary, it's probably why. But yeah, this will make you zoom in, no matter what view you're in. You hold that. I figured countermeasure should be R, because you're not going to really reload while you're in a vehicle, so. You can switch the types of countermeasures by holding left control and pressing R. Revealing targets, same thing, hold secondary mouse button. Kind of surprised that it's not conflicting with locking on a target, but I guess that's okay. I put toggle raise weapon as F, because if you don't have a flashlight out, it's not really going to do the flashlight thing anyways, which is the headlights. So, same thing, if I'm in a car and I go in to toggle the headlights, it's not going to make me raise a weapon or not, so it's okay that they're over the top of each other. And previous and next I have set for this because it allows you to go through the different menus this way. Might as well delete these extra controls. But use selected action, that's just whatever the default is. So if you walk up to a door, the default would be to open or close it. So you could just click the middle mouse, you don't have to go through the menu for that. Same thing with use selected action. Well, I mean, you can scroll through the menu and then you can press the primary mouse button to select whatever action is on the menu. So yeah, headlights, same thing. That actually activates your flashlight. If you're holding a flashlight, it acts like a pistol. You can't really put your pistol down, so toggle raise weapon doesn't affect it. Night vision N, just because it's easy to remember. B for binoculars, because it's easy to remember. I set this as caps lock in case I wanted to go back and forth quickly. I have the compass and the compass toggle, so that way you can just have it out for a second, or you can keep it out while you're running without having to hold the button. I didn't really put anything for GPS. I just put GPS toggle like right away. Because I mean it's a lot more useful when it's out and you can just keep looking at it. The time acceleration doesn't really work in DayZ because it's a multiplayer game. And then, you know, map, and then hide map. So if one button opens it, and the other one closes it, I just have them set as the same button. Obviously, if the map is already closed, it's not going to close the map, so it'll just open it. And if it's already open, it's not going to open it, so it'll just close it. The optics, that is for aiming down your sights. I kind of wish that they named this stuff better. It's okay though. That's why I'm doing this. But optics is the button where if you press this button, it will do iron sights. So that's why I have it as secondary mouse. In this case, you just have to tap it and it'll toggle. And then, because I have the other setting, while you're in the iron sights, you can also hold the mouse to zoom in without going out of iron sights. It's kind of nice. And I put toggle view as mouse button 4, because I happen to have a 5-button mouse. And it's very useful for changing view easily, quickly. I don't exactly know what tactical view is. I think it has something to do with while being in vehicles. But yeah, and I got the toggles, I just left them in case I'm sniping and I don't feel like holding the button the entire time. The zeroing up and down, a lot of people, when they get the DMR, they ask me how to zero. You can't zero with the DMR. Many other guns with scope, so you can zero. And what that is for is each click will increase the scope. It'll tilt it so that your aim will fall higher or lower. And that's for when you're shooting at targets that are really far away, because the bullet will drop. So it's useful to adjust. If you think they're 500 meters away, you might set the zeroing to 500 meters, and then you can get a dead-on accurate shot instead of having to compensate so much. But if it's, you know, if it's 550 meters away, you're gonna have to set it to 600 meters and then aim up a little bit. So that's how zeroing works. And the look button is the same thing as free look, but look will not toggle. Free look toggles. So I set that to mouse button 5. And again, it's kind of the same thing as changing view. It's just really easy. It's already on the mouse. It's right there. Makes it nice and quick to move your head without moving your body, which is also very useful when you're laying down and you're trying to hide from helicopters, to move your head without moving your body, because it's a lot harder to see your head moving than an entire body spinning around near a bush. So yeah, that's why I have those. And then I got these just for in case I'm in a vehicle and all that kind of stuff. And of course my Xbox controls. I'm just gonna leave it. I'm probably gonna mess with that kind of stuff later in VR, but nothing right now. So the channels, I have these to switch channels, and that's the chat channel. I set it as numlock because if I have it as enter, for some reason I have to hold enter and type and then let go, and it sends it. and I don't like that. So I set it as something that locks. I was gonna do it as caps lock, but that's when I had the idea, oh, I should just have this as switch weapon. And so I put it as num lock, because if I'm gonna chat, I'm probably in a pretty safe spot anyways. I can take a second and look down at the keyboard if I need to. But I also know where it is, so it's pretty quick. Get used to it. You hit num lock, it locks the chat open, you type, you hit enter, and it sends it. And it doesn't mess with your caps lock or anything like that, so it's kind of nice. I don't have set up because these talk on group channels will act like push to talk buttons. So I have C to talk in the group channel. It's right next to the toggle walk. It's really easy. Your thumb can rest on it really easily. If you have a group, it makes it easy to chat while you're already walking around and looking around at the same time. You don't have to stop and do nothing extra. The vehicle channel, I have that as G because you're probably not going to be walking around or jumping or anything. It won't be too hard to press G while you're in a vehicle. And the direct channel I have as V. It's right next to the C, so if you want to talk to people in the world without transmitting to the entire group or something like that, you can talk. It just makes it really easy and close by. The multiplayer statistics, I mean, I pressed it. I don't think it works. It might work. I just use P mostly, but anyways. Now turbo and vehicle turbo, it's really the same thing, so I just set it as left shift, same thing as I have as sprint. I think it might even be saying car fast forward is what it is, but so, well, yeah, there's a different one for planes, and a different one for boats, and a different one for cars. This one, vehicle turbo, it just does it for all of them, so I don't know why they have it, and I don't know why they have turbo. They do have slight differences to them, but for the way that I play games and stuff, it seems to me that this works the best in all vehicles. Holding breath, I use that as hold secondary mouse button, because if you tap secondary mouse button to go in the iron sights in a weapon that has a scope, you're going to be looking through the scope, and holding zoom is not going to zoom the scope in, but it'll let you hold your breath so that it'll steady the scope. And so it's just another one of those multiple use buttons where it's one button that does like multiple things, and it's pretty useful just being right there. I mean, you're about to fire, you hold your breath with the secondary, and then you let the shot off with the primary, and then you're good to go. Now I set these, the salute, sit down. There is another one, surrender, also. I don't know, it's probably at the very bottom, but I put it as the number pads because it's out of the way. And it's actually, I mean, my mouse is pretty close to my keyboard, so for me, it's pretty easy to just whack it with my thumb real quick if I need to, with my right hand. But yeah, saluting, of course, it makes you put your gun down, and then you'll enter the salute stance. And then you press it again, and it'll stop, or you can just walk around and it'll stop. Sitting down does the same thing. It makes you put your gun down, and you sit on the ground and rest. You can walk around to stand back up, or you can hit the button again to stand back up. And of course, aiming up and down, left and right, of course, that's the mouse. Looking, I have that as the same thing because when I hold the look button, this is what controls it. So, pauses, escape, pretty basic. I didn't have select as anything. It used to be spacebar, but I turned it off because I have use, selected, menu, whatever. I have that as primary mouse, so it works. For back, that's when you're in the menu. So if you don't want to use the action and you want to cancel and you want to go back, I have it as backspace, or I can click the secondary mouse button, same button that would put me in iron sights. If I'm in a menu, it won't put me in iron sights, it'll just leave the menu. It actually works really good. I set analog brakes to spacebar because you can't jump while you're in a vehicle. It doesn't seem to work. I've hit spacebar and I don't see the brake lights come on, so I'm not sure if it works. I might have to switch that to something else later. But yeah, so increase and decrease, I just kind of left those how they were. Obviously Z isn't going to change your fire mode while you're in a helicopter, so this is fine, this is all fine. You know, and this again is for controlling helicopters. The pedals and all the nose. And so now I think this stuff is for cars. The fast forward, no, that's not, that's actually for the helicopter. Yeah, and hover, and these are for planes, seagulls. Here we go, into the cars now. Alright, so there's 3 different speeds for the cars, like car slow forward, car fast forward, and then just car forward. Now, car forward you could think of as medium, and then there's slow and fast. So slow is like if you don't want to crash and you want to just kind of creep. So I have that as left alt. Obviously you're not going to end up crouching while you're in a car. So it works really well to use it as alt to go slow, and then if I want to sprint in a car, it's kind of the same thing. You're not really going to sprint. So I have that as drive fast. And then car forward is just W, kind of the same thing as just walking. You can also turn the car with the mouse. So even though I have more left and more right set with the mouse, and then I have left and right with A and D, it's kind of the same thing as the throttle. To where you could turn a little bit or you could turn a lot. So yeah. Of course, when you're in the passenger seat looking around will be the mouse. I don't know why there's still more for pausing and escaping and things like that. Oh, we're back here again. So I guess the menu must have jumped. Anywho, yeah, the gunner positions, cancel action. So if you're about to do an action, you can hit secondary mouse button. I should also set backspace for that. No. There we go. So command watch. That's for your teams. Gear I have is tab. It used to be G, but tab works really good. Get to your gear nice and quick. Diary is still J, like journal. You could think of journal. Surrender. Now there's the one. For some reason, when I do surrender, it will put my hands up and then it will just automatically stop. So what I've been doing is I've been using salute to surrender if I do. Which, oops, let's see. I don't want it as that. I want it as that. And that's the one I just deleted. There we go. So, okay, and then step over is pretty much vault or jump. There's no real jump in this game, so you just use space. And so you want to turn the smoothing down so that way your mouse can actually move normally. When it gets laggy, it smooths really weird, and sometimes your mouse will move faster or slower. It's a lot better with it off. And I mean, of course, your axis, you can have that at whatever speed you prefer. And then if you want to invert it or not, you can reverse or normalize it. So that's the way I have my controls. Thanks.